nothing.
Shut up! You!
Yes?
Not you, him! What's your name?
Me.
Yes, you!
I am me.
He's me, and I'm you.
Hey friends. What's up? Vanakkam, Namaste, Andhiriki Namaskar, Salam Alaikum. In today's lecture we are going to talk about some basic points about GST. You know, there was a joke which was floated on WhatsApp. Alia Bhatt was asked once what is the full form of GST. And she said, it is good night, sweet dream, and take care. Yeah, paditano. So, these days, I guess heroine are competing with each other that who is going to give the most hilarious answer for any question. So anyways, so that we don't end up giving such messy answers, we are going to start up a separate series which will clear all your basics about GST. And the intention is not to make you a GST expert, but the intention is to make you as a consumer, and even if you are an entrepreneur, to make you aware about certain basic concepts of GST. So in today's video, we are going to talk about what is the meaning of GST. We are going to talk about the components of GST, registration requirements of GST, and we are also going to talk about what are the different forms which appear in GST at a very basic level, at a layman's level. GST is basically goods and services tax. It's both are in plural, goods and services tax. Okay, before the introduction of GST, we had so many taxes in India. We had excise, service tax, customs, octroi. It was a complete mess of all the taxes. So, to simplify things, this government BJP in 2014 to 19th regime, their first tenure, they came up with GST. And our Prime Minister, Narendra Modi, said that we are introducing view with one nation, one tax. And that was GST. He called it as a good and a simple tax. Is it really good? Is it simple? There are so many different perceptions about, by various people. So let's understand a little bit more in detail, so that you can make your own perception about really is it good and really is it simple or not. I remember that when I was at a hotel the day after GST was introduced, the waiter got a bill right next to my table and the customer was sitting right next to me. She saw the bill and she said, see, GST is at 9% and SGST is at 9%. And she shouted saying that I have listened to Modi ji's speech and I knew it's one tax, one nation, so either charge me GST or SGST and not want to pay both. So, there's a confusion, why it is said that one tax, one nation, when there are multiple components of GST. There are three major components, one is CGST, second is SGST and third one is IGST. C stands for Central GST, SGST is State GST, and IGST is an integrated GST. Okay, now which tax is levied when? In simple words again, assume that I am selling my lectures to a person who is in Chennai and also I am from Chennai. Then, I have to levy two types of taxes, one is CGST and another is SGST. So, basically when I sell lectures to you and whenever I collect taxes from you, then I will pay a part of that to the state government, that is SGST, which is state GST to Tamil Nadu government, then CGST, that portion goes to central. Okay, so I don't pay taxes separately, that the division part, the bifurcation part, is done by the tax authorities, but that component, whatever I am paying. So as a simple example, if I am paying 18 rupees to the government, then it gets split up as 9 plus 9, 9 rupees goes to government of Tamil Nadu, which is the SGST, and 9 rupees goes to the central government, that is the CGST. Okay, but now, it does happen that there are many people who place an order for my video even outside Tamil Nadu. So let us say, there's a person from Delhi who has placed an order for my animation videos. Now, what happens? Do I charge CGST and SGST? No, I charge IGST, so I hope you have understood. Any sale which takes place within the state is a CGST, SGST. So, basically such sale within the state will attract two taxes, CGST, SGST. And a sale outside the state will attract IGST, which is an integrated GST. What would be the tax rate for IGST? In such a case where CGST is 9% and SGST is 9%, then, for IGST, it will be 18%. So this is a small task that I'm giving to you. All I'm sure, you might be ordering many products, let's say from Amazon, Flipkart, then, just check out the bill, what taxes are charged to you, and you must check that if you are from a particular state, and if the seller is also from that particular state, then, has he charged CGST and SGST to you or not? And if he is from outside the state and he might have charged you IGST, so just have a small practical, that's the homework from my side. Hehehehe. Okay, so is it necessary that every person who is selling some goods or rendering a service is required to collect and pay GST to the government? So a simple example, take it on lighter note, let's say I was going to my office the other day and my watchman said salam sir, and said that he have provided me a service. He was awake on the night, and that he was protecting the people of my society, so that everyone could sleep very calmly without any tension. So can he demand me GST for his service? Is that what is going to happen? No, but then, he is also providing a service, right? That's true. Then who is required to collect GST? And who is not required to collect GST? For that you should know the registration requirements. Okay, so just as an example, if I am collecting GST from you, then it means that I cross the threshold limit, and then, it would be mandatory for me to register under GST. So what are the mandatory requirements? For any businessman, if the turnover of a business, turnover here is nothing but sale of goods. If turnover crosses 40 lakhs, then he or she, that business basically, is required to get itself registered under GST. And for supply of services, the threshold limit is 20 lakhs, yet there are some exceptions. But for special category states the limits may vary. If some person wants sumoto is on his or her own wish or will, then they can register under GST. Okay, so if you're a small shopkeeper and you say I want to get registered under GST. I want to tell everyone that I am registered under GST, just out of curiosity. Can you register under GST? Yes you can, that's a voluntary registration. But when is it a mandatory registration? Mandatory registration is that, if you cross the threshold of 40 lakhs or 20 lakhs turnover, as the case may be. One more important point for you, if you were to sell your products online, so let's say, you're making some fancy items, some fancy bottles. These days, ornaments like bangles, earrings are made by so many girls, and if they want to sell it online, then, in that case, even if your business has 1 rupee of turnover, because you're selling it online, it would be mandatory for you to get yourself registered under GST. Same way, if your company makes any interstate transactions, or exports goods or services, then it is mandatory to have a GST number, so, in all the above cases, that 40 lakhs threshold disappears. Okay, so hope you have understood the registration requirements. There are so many details, I'll just covered it at a very basic level. Now, let's talk about few forms, which you have to file under GST. Number 1 is GSTR1, second one is GSTR3B. These two forms are currently required to be filled by various businessmen and professionals. I'll give you just one one-liner about what is GSTR1 and what is GSTR3B. One is basically about, let's say, I am a businessman, I have to give details to the government of India, as to how much sale or how much services I have rendered, the worth of that I have to submit in GSTR1. So just as an example, if I have sold goods worth rupees 10 lakhs in 1 month, then I have to tell this to the government that, yes I have sold these lectures 10 lakhs worth. On these, I have collected 18% GST, and this is my total tax liability. This is what I have to tell in GSTR1. Of course, I have to give the details B2B, that is business to business, and B2C, business to customer transactions. All these details have to be given here. Okay, then what happens with GSTR3B? Now, in 3B, basically my tax liability is calculated. Okay, I'll give you a very simple example, just pay attention. Assume that I have sold goods worth rupees 100 and I collected 18 rupees GST. Okay, then what is my tax liability? I collected 18 rupees from the customer as a businessman. I have to pay this 18 rupees to the government, but could it happen that me as a businessman, I have also paid GST to someone? Yes, so I will give you a simple example. Assume that I am selling a calculator. Okay, when I sell this calculator, I sell it at 100 rupees and have collected 18 rupees as a trader. So, assume I purchased a calculator from a wholesaler at 80 rupees. Okay, I purchased at 80 rupees and I have paid 8 rupees GST to the wholesaler, right? So pay attention, 18 rupees collected from the customer and 8 rupees I have paid to the supplier. Okay, so now I tell the government 18 rupees collected minus 8 rupees paid, I am going to pay you only 10 rupees. Okay, that is all as the concept of GST credit. I hope, as of now, we have understood a little bit, so I just paid the net amount and not the gross amount collected as a GST to the government. So, this is to be told in GSTR 3B, so, whatever is the liability, have to be paid to the government by 20th of the next month. So right, now, we are in the month of September. So, whatever amount I collect from my customers, I have to pay it by 20th of October. To get the credit of previously paid tax, everybody will insist upon getting an invoice for the transaction. Users of PAN and Aadhaar will be required to file GST returns. This will help the income tax authorities to track transactions. After registration, you have mandatory things to taken care of, like you should mention GST number in all the invoices you raise, both purchase and sales invoice. You should file returns in timely manner, based on the turnover, due dates may differ. Even for nil transactions, you should file nil returns. Here comes the end. This is all about basics of GST. Good night too.